MiniWarGaming's Beat the Cooler Bat Rap!
Hey there, MiniWarGamers. Owen here from MiniWarGaming with Jay to play another game of Warhammer 40k. This time, 1,000 points. He's bringing Dark Angels, and I am bringing Imperial Guard. And we haven't rolled off for what we're doing yet. So we're going to do that, and then I'll show you the armies. So, here's my Imperial Guard, 1,000 points. Got a Lord Commissar. He does have a power fist. See his little hand there? That's a fist. We've got a unit of Stormtroopers. We have one with a Melta and a second one with a Melta, and they're in a Chimera. That's just bare bones. We've got a unit of Veterans with a las cannon in a Chimera, unit of Veterans with a las cannon in a Chimera, unit of Veterans with a las cannon in a Chimera, and then we've got two Thunderers. Now, I might use these wrong because I don't have a codex on hand. Probably use a lot of this wrong. So let me know, Imperial Guard players, if I make any mistakes, because this is my first time playing Guard. Alright, call it out.
Sure. So, my Warlord is Belial.
Yep.
He's going to be counting as having a Storm Shield hammer.
Okay.
I also have a Librarian. He's a Mastery level 3, and he rolled on the Divination table for those three. Perfect Timing, Prescience, and Scryer's Gaze. I have a squad of 5 Devastators. Will take me 4 with a Sergeant.
Yep.
With all plasma cannons. A squad of 5 Tactical Marines. These guys are going to be Bantha fodder. And one of them has a plasma gun. And then 2 squads of 5 Deathwing. One squad has a missile launcher and a chain fist, and the other one just has an assault cannon and a chain fist.
Just an assault cannon. That's okay.
Yeah.
So here we are deployed. It is diagonal. It is not night fighting. We rolled off before we deployed. We did it right, guys. And we are playing Crusade. There are 3 objectives. Each of those is worth 3 points at the end of the game. We roll off for what they are when we control them. I have first turn, and he's kept most of his Terminators in reserve. He just brought up a few little guys here and there. And I didn't realize that the Thunderers are Forge World, so I assumed that they had more special rules than I realized, but I'm just going to be shooting that Demolisher Cannon as though it was on a Lehman Russ. And hopefully that's not terrible, but I have a feeling these are those ones that flip. So, stay tuned for turn 1.
And we start off the game. He rolls off to steal initiative, and he successfully does. So I do my scout move with my veterans, or my stormtroopers rather. And then Dark Angel's turn 1 begins. Belial and his Deathwing deep strike directly behind one of my Thunderers, because they do not scatter when they deep strike with Belial. The other unit, though, they do deep strike because Belial wasn't on the table at the beginning, so they can't use him as a beacon. And they land right there on that objective, and it starts off, we find out the objective, if you try and charge him, it's minus, or you do half your charge distance. And so now he starts shooting, and, first off, he does his psychic abilities. He does Perfect Timing, which does go off barely. And then now he's trying to cast Prescience, even though I'm not going to charge him. But that goes off, or fails to go off rather. He shoots the back of my Thunderer with his autocannon, which is twin-linked, so he gets 4 shots re-rolling. Then he needs 5s and 6s, and he does not get any. His missile launcher then shoots, and at first he was going to aim the one tank. He decided to shoot the other one for whatever reason, and it's twin-linked on the turn that he shows up, so he gets 2 shots, 2 hits, and now he needs 5s to glance, because it is armor 13 on the side, and unfortunately he does not glance. Now he fires off his plasma cannons into my Chimera that's filled with Stormtroopers and my Commissar. And the first one, it scatters a little bit, which actually still hits the tank. At first I thought he would miss, but we remeasured it, and it does hit. He fires a second shot. This one deviates. This one does go off the board, and unfortunately, because it was off, it doesn't work. The next one shoots. It gets a direct hit, so he's got 2 hits so far, and the third one shoots, which, once again, that's a hit, because we measured it before. Then he remembered that, well, now he rolls to pen, which he actually gets a glance, so I lose 1 of my hull points, but then we remember that gets hot, and he does not get hot. Imperial Guard turn 1 begins. The Chimeras all roll up right across the middle of the board there. Everybody's moving 12, so we're going to be snap shooting pretty much everywhere. And I just want to get closer. My Stormtroopers move up with the Commissar there. The Thunderer just rotates. It doesn't actually move, it just turns. And so it faces the Terminators, each of them do. The first one fires, it's shooting its Demolisher Cannon, which unfortunately misses by 5 inches, so it only clips the one guy. And so I only get 1 Terminator, and I fail to wound him. So no wounds to those Terminators, but the other Thunderer fires. It gets a direct hit on Belial's head, and 2s to wound. I get 5 wounds out of the 6 of them, and he has to make a 5-up. So the first 3, because they have a 5-up, fail. Then it gets to Belial, where he has a 3-up, but he can choose to Lookout Sir. And what he does is he does decide to do a Lookout Sir, so it goes to the other 2, and they need a 5-up, and one of them makes it, the other does not, and the next closest is the Chain Fist. So he has the Sergeant and Belial left. Now keep in mind that Belial has a Storm Shield and Thunderhammer. I start taking pot shots with my las cannons. They're hitting on 6s, but I do actually get a hit, and I don't do a wound, because I need to do 2s to wound. And now my tank here starts firing away, or at least the guys inside do, and hoping for a few little pot shots with their guns. They didn't get any any hits though. I fire the multi-laser, and unfortunately no weapons get any hits on them. Here we are at the end of turn 1.
Yep.
A lot of Terminators got splattered by the big gun. This one unfortunately missed, which I think the Forge World one means I wouldn't have missed, but that's okay. These tanks just rolled up, shot their las cannons back. One of them actually hit, but I failed to wound. And these guys hit over there after doing 1 glance to the Chimera filled with Stormtroopers. So, stay tuned for Dark Angels turn 2. Turn 2 for the Dark Angels begins. First thing he does, once again, throwing down his psychic abilities, and here we go. He gets it, but he does perils. So he ignores my cover, which I don't have, and he takes a wound. So his Librarian is now down a wound, and his other Terminators now move up, getting ready to attack with their power fists and hammers and swords and rage and everything that Dark Angels have. And so he shoots a few rockets at it at point blank just to shoot it. 2 hits and then 6s, no damage. He then fires his plasma cannons, once again aiming for my Chimera filled with Stormtroopers. First one hits, second one hits, it still hits because the last one hit, and third one hits, and then he's got 1 more, which hits. And so he gets all the hits. He rolls for the gets hot again. We forgot, yeah, you have to roll it before, but he hits with everything, and then he gets he gets 1 glance this time. So I'm down to 1 hull point left, or he's got 1 more glance rather. He already did 1 before. And now he assaults. Terminators close in against the Thunderers, easily making the charge, seeing as they were only like an inch away. And so he closes in. Belial attacks with his Thunderhammer, glancing on 2s. He gets 4 pens, so it dies, but the question is, does it blow up? Rolls to see if it explodes. It does. And do I wound them? No, I don't. And with that, he gets first blood and the first victory point. The other Terminators attack the other Thunderer, and we started off with the Chain Fist. He gets 2d6 pen, he gets 1 pen, 2 pens, and 3 pens. He needs to roll more than 2 on 2 dice, so he gets them all, rolling to see if it blows up, and it does. We decided to just roll the Chain Fist first, because it was most likely to destroy it. Normally you do all of the power weapons at the same time, and in this case we didn't bother because we were just adding them up. So it does go off. I got a little bit confused here, thinking that we hadn't rolled for the pen yet, but he did, and I don't know, we make him roll it again, but he did get it. So it blows up. I get 1 guy, and he has to make a 2-up armor save, which he easily makes, and that's another Thunderer destroyed. So the Imperial Guard, having lost their heavy artillery in the back, basically turn around, pointing their las cannons and chimeras back the way they came, except for this one that continues to just drive off all willy-nilly like that. The Stormtroopers move up 6 in their Chimera, then they jump out the side hatch, and along with the Commissar, get out right at the tip of their 6 inches, and they end up waiting until this other Chimera moves before they decide to shoot, which they will do. And now they're shooting. They're going to focus fire on the guys that aren't behind the cover there, and so they get tons of shots. The Commissar is shooting the blue dice. The other ones are Meltas, the greens. Their hotshot lasguns are AP3, as is the Plasma AP2 and Melta AP1. Now, he rolls off, and really it was, he shouldn't be getting a save, but he does do a Lookout Sir to try and dodge it, because his Sergeant was closer, or he tried to do a Lookout Sir with the Librarian, rather, and he fails it, so all 3 of them are slain. The Chimera takes a few pot shots, and it actually gets 2 hits with its multi-laser and does a wound, and he's got a 3-up armor save, which he makes easily. The other Chimera shoots. The main gun is hitting on 4s, the other gun's hitting on 6s, so he gets 4 wounds altogether, but once again, he's going to get his regular 3-up save against this. And so he's rolling them one at a time because he has one regular guy in front of his sergeant. So he fails that, and then he does 2 lookout sirs for his sergeant, which passes both on a 4+. Then he has 2 3-up saves on his other plasma cannon, which also passes both. And so now I fire my las cannon and a few lasguns just for fun, needing 6s to hit. I get 1 hit, 1 wound. He's got to make another lookout sir, which he fails, but he's got a 3-up save still, which he passes. So he's fine in the end, and now I shoot yet another tank. This one is firing all of its scatter lasers in that, and it gets 2 hits with its scatter laser and does 2 wounds because it's strength 6, and he fails both lookout sirs, but he makes both saves. So still nothing happens. Now the guy's inside fire, or at least the las cannon does, but it misses because it needed a 6. I fire at the Terminators at the other end. They are needing 6s here. I get 1 hit and 1 wound. He gets a 2-up armor save though, which he easily passes, and then a snapshot from my las cannon, which misses. And that's about it for there. Now he's doing his morale check, which he does pass, so he does not run.
At the end of 2, this is what the battlefield looks like. So my Devastator squad got taken out pretty badly. They're still around there near the objectives, and everything else is riding pretty. So cool stuff.
And we killed the Terminator.
No, it was
more to
the
go.
previous